Good evening, friends. Professor Bejon Mishra, Ananditya ji, and all the guests present from Ahmedabad or outside. It's my real delight to welcome you on the National Consumer Day, because our Consumer Day is different than the International Consumer Day. So on the National Consumer Day, which started on 24th December 1986, when Consumer Protection Act was really put into place. And since then, we have been celebrating National Consumer Day every year. It's my real pleasure that Professor Bejon Mishra and Ananditya Mehta ji are both present here. Bejon Mishra ji is a multifaceted, versatile, creative, innovative personality. He wears many hats. He is supposed to be the best advocate in the country at this point of time for consumer protection, consumer safety, consumer interest, besides patient safety, access to healthcare, and above all, he is supposed to be a real mascot even for the quality movement in the country. So these three hats that he wears are unique in a way that they impact our day-to-day life in a very serious, and in a very, in a great way. Professor Mishra is a management graduate from BHU, but he has represented India in many international fora which are concerning the consumer interest. He was one of the major forces behind Consumer Protection Act of 1986, Food Safety Standards Authority of India 2005 or 2006, and now the new Consumer Protection Act, which is there, of 2019. And in all of them, he has contributed significantly. I came in touch with Mishra ji many years back when we were having a round table in Delhi, and I wanted to have a person who was extremely knowledgeable about consumer interest, food safety, nutrition, etc., etc. And his name was recommended by my friend who was in the planning commission and who was the founder of Innovative Thought Forum. He said, you must get, say Professor Bejon Mishra and Dr. Prakash, who was at one point of time one of the best scientists in the country in the food technology, a doyen, and obviously a great maybe person, said that we should have Bejonji. So Bejonji was there in that round table. That was many years back. But we got in touch again during the COVID times when a friend of his who was helping him in Ayush Mana declaration said that if you want somebody for homeopathy, Dangayach could be the person who should be touched upon or should be contacted. And that is how my name was added in the Zoom group. And then we attended many things together, and we have been talking to each other off and on. Let me tell you that the government of India respects Professor Mishra in such, I would say, exalted manner that he has been a part and parcel of a lot of policy initiatives in these segments for the last maybe 10, 15, 20 years. Though he picked up, I would say, the interest in consumer protection, safety, and other things from people like Bindu Madhavji Joshi, who was the founder of Akhil Bharatiya Grahak Panchayat from Pune. And then later on, Manubhai Shah, who, as you know very well, is the doyen and is supposed to be the founder of consumer movement and called, Ralph Nader of India. He picked up, from them, but I would say that at this point of time, and in the last 2 decades, Professor Mishra has been a part and parcel of the entire advocacy, policy, implementation, etc., etc., etc. The older government of Manmohan Singh ji loved him, and so is Narendra Bhai Modi's government, the current government, who also love him, and he has been given the responsibility, onerous responsibility of creating a suitable structure for insurance for Ayush, which is a very, very difficult task, and he has been performing it creditably well. So I am delighted to present Professor Mishra, who is a dear friend, and Ahmedabad is surely going to gain from his presence, from his discourse, and from his views. and I'm sure that he will be able to give us a small glimpse of the brilliance and the small glimpse of his creative mind that he possesses. So over to Professor Mishra. But before that, I would like to present a small memento to him in appreciation of his coming here. So this is a new Atal Bridge in Ahmedabad.
Wow.
And I'm sure you'd love to walk over there if you have time.
Yeah,
Thank you.
wonderful.
So,
Thank you very much.
so I would request now Bejonji to share his thoughts on the subject. As I said, it's a very complex subject, and the time available to him is only 40 minutes. So I hope he is able to do justice to the audience, which has been waiting very eagerly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you very much. So friends, namaskar. Wow, everybody is looking very serious. Hi, how are you? Oh, wonderful, wonderful. These are all good friends. Firstly, let me thank Ahmedabad for welcoming me and for inviting me. So a big round of applause to the Ahmedabad Management Association. I am really proud. I'm really proud that, he stole away a lot of my script, by the way. I must tell you that. I was going to tell you all a lot of stories, and the title which was given to me was The Past, Present and the Future on Consumer Protection and Safety. So I was going to talk on that. So what I wanted to tell you all was, Ahmedabad has a very deep relationship with me. Very deep. It was, I remember in 1980, when I first got certain publications. What I want to tell you all is, in 1980, nobody knew what is a consumer. The only thing they knew was if you have to get a telephone connection, you have to wait for 8 years to get one telephone connection. And that also when the telephone is getting installed. Acha, how many were born before 1950? Raise your hand. Oh, we've got few numbers. We're not in majority, but we've got some numbers. So we can share the experience. And you can recall your days, Telephone lag gaya, lekin ghanti nahi baj rahi hai. Dial tone nahi hai. 3 महीना घंटी लग गई, टेलीफोन लग गया लेकिन टेलीफोन नहीं काम कर रहा. आप पूरा पैसे दे दीजिए गाड़ी खरीदने के लिए या स्कूटर खरीदने के लिए, आपको 8 साल का वेटिंग पीरियड पूरे पैसे देने के बाद. यू सी, गैस का पूरा पैसा डिपॉजिट कर दो, गैस का पैसे भी दे दो, कब डिलीवरी होगा किसी को नहीं मालूम. यह था स्थिति 1980. एंड आई रिमेंबर वेरी क्लियरली, we didn't have internet those days. We had to go to XLRI to do some research in their library to find out consumer क्या है और दूसरे countries में क्या हो रहा है. That is when I met in print a gentleman called Professor Manubhai Shah. From where? From this city. So big round of applause for him. Big round of applause. He was the person who literally baptized me to get into this movement. And I still remember, Anita, I still remember, when he used to come to XLRI to give lectures. And he was called into a Rotary meeting where he spoke about consumer protection. And we, as in 30s, we went and sat there to listen to him. तो हमारे सारे दोस्त लोग बोले, चलो चलो ये कंज्यूमर प्रोटेक्शन की कुछ बात करने चाह रहा है रोटरी में, चल के सुनते हैं. तो हम लोग सुने उनको मिल भी लिए. And you won't believe, the first thing he did when he went back, he sent us a huge packet full of literatures in terms of how to start a consumer organization in Jamshedpur. And in 1983, I still remember, he was visiting XLRI because we couldn't afford his fare, train fare. We couldn't afford it. So we told him, आप हमको बताइए आप जमशेदपुर कब आएंगे फिर से. बोला क्यों? हम बोले उस समय हम लोग उस संस्था का उद्घाटन करेंगे. बोले yes, very good. So when he came to XLRI, we got ourselves inaugurated. And when I inaugurated this organization, आपको विश्वास नहीं होगा, because these are all stories which I am very confidentially sharing with you all. Of course, it's getting recorded, it will go public, but doesn't matter, you are the first one who's listening to it. The most important thing was when my organization got inaugurated, we had a managing director called Mr. Rusi Modi, whom all of you know, I think. You know Rusi Modi? इनॉग्रेशन हुआ, हफ्ते भर के अंदर हमारे घर पे 3 बड़े बड़े डब्बे आए, कार्डबोर्ड बॉक्सेस, फुल ऑफ लिटरेचर्स ऑफ कंज्यूमर प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ यूके, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, अमेरिका, यूरोप, सारे कंट्रीज के लिटरेचर्स, न्यूज लेटर्स, मैगजीन्स. तो हम बोले ये क्यों हमको भेजा, हम उसके ऑफिस में फोन किए. ही हैड अ पीए कॉल्ड Lulu, private secretary. Lulu को phone किए. Lulu, ये old man, why did he send me all these boxes? Well, I don't know. He is in Paris, in France. He's holidaying. He just called me and said, send it to Bijon's house. तो हम बोले, when the old man comes back, please tell me. I would like to meet him for 5 minutes. Give me time with him. बोले, okay. And when I met him, the first thing I asked him was, sir, what is this? Where did you get all these literatures from? He said, for 15 years, I was wanting to start a consumer organization. You started it in Jamshedpur. Now all this property is yours. Louder, louder. Yeah, louder. You see, what I want to share with you is people with vision in our country knew how important consumer protection is for the country. Not only for the industry, but for every individual of the country. That consumer protection is extremely important. And that is where, I also learned from people like Manubhai Shah in terms of how it has to grow. So the first thing, and I was very fortunate, got married to a lady called Suman, sitting here, just in front of me. This lady happens to be from a place called Amethi. All of you know? But when I got married to her, nobody knew this place. Nobody knew this place. You see, so I was holidaying there when an MP called Rajiv Gandhi was also visiting the constituency. And I met him. And I told him what I do. Apart from my entrepreneurial activity, which I did in Jamshedpur, I told him I just started a consumer organization in Jamshedpur. He said, that's very interesting. This is a very important aspect in terms of the growth of a country. Rajiv Gandhi as an MP telling me that in Amethi. And you won't believe, as it would happen, that MP by default became the Prime Minister of the country. How things change. We never expected that Mrs. Gandhi will get killed. But she got assassinated, and overnight this man becomes the Prime Minister of the country. I rush to Delhi, and I tell him that, sir, you are the Prime Minister now. Bola, yes. So, I said, you can do whatever you want to do. Acha, you tell me one thing which you want from me. He said, don't ask me too many things. You ask me only one thing which you want from me. Not many things. I said, sir, I just want one law to protect the consumer. And we have already drafted that law. And Manubhai was party to that. We had drafted a law already. And the law was ready. He said, that's very interesting. You didn't ask anything for yourself? I said, no. I only want this. He immediately called the law minister, that was H.K.L. Bhagat at that point of time. He later on became the Food and Civil Supplies Minister also. So H.K.L. Bhagat को बुलाकर बोले, ये कानून हमको 6 महीने के अंदर चाहिए. और मिश्रा जी ने इसका ड्राफ्ट बना दिया है. And what he liked, I'll tell you that also. The thing he liked the most was, I told him, I don't want anybody to go to jail. I don't want anybody to go to jail or get fined. I only want if a consumer has been damaged due to a faulty product, then he should get compensated for that damage. He should get an easy exchange, he should get an easy refund, he should get a defect-free product, he should get a product which is of high quality. I don't want to send anybody to jail. Rajiv Gandhi, absolutely cheerful, and he was a handsome guy, you know. Yeah, the smile he gave, he said, done. No, I don't. Thank you very much. I feel so proud, you know. But the point is, what I'm trying to tell you all is, it immediately caught his imagination. On 24th, that is today, of December 1986, this law got enacted. So that was the turning point. And the real turning point was, let me tell you, as usual, no state government moved. No state government got excited with this law. What I did was, and luckily for me, when he was an MP and he was visiting Jamshedpur, the then Prime Minister got me introduced to a gentleman called Bindeshwari Dubey. He was the president of the INTUC at that point of time. And the media asked me, what did Rajiv Gandhi was talking to you? I said, he didn't talk to me. He was talking to Mr. Bindeshwari Dubey. And Bindeshwari Dubey, he told Bindeshwari Dubey about this consumer concept which I have started in Jamshedpur. Next day in the headline in the local newspaper, it says, Bindeshwari Dubey, next Chief Minister of Bihar. I was flabbergasted. I said, I phoned up the editor of that newspaper. I said, अरे अग्रवाल जी आपको ये कौन बोला? ये दिल्ली बाईलाइन दिखा रहे हैं आप, दिल्ली से किसी ने बताया? कौन बोला दिल्ली से? बोला दिल्ली से कोई नहीं बोला, आप जमशेदपुर से हमको बताया कि चीफ मिनिस्टर कौन बनेगा. And friends, let me tell you, you know how media is so active and they are so predictive. They can know what is going on. Anybody from media here? Nobody? Arey, thank God. So what I want to tell you is that the next day it happened, within 3 months, Bindeshwari Dubey became the Chief Minister of Bihar. He became Chief Minister of Bihar, and Rajiv Gandhi became the Prime Minister after that. And the best part was, I flew from Delhi to Patna, and I told Bindeshwari Dubey, ये कानून सर पालित हो गया है पार्लियामेंट में, आप बिहार में इसको लागू कर दीजिए. No state governments were moving. I told him, आप इसको लागू, and he knew that I knew the big boss. So he immediately what he did, he called the civil supplies minister and he said, इसको आप notify कर दीजिए, गैजेट कर दीजिए. But sir, ये तो movement होगा, ऐसा होगा. नहीं, आप कर दीजिए, आप जो भी करना है आप कर दो. लेकिन कर दो. Bihar was the first state in the country which established the first state commission from the veranda of a retired justice called Justice R.N. Thakur, a very well-known justice of the country. And he was from the Patna High Court. The retired chief secretary of Bihar was made one of the members, and a freedom fighter called Rama Devi, because you have to have one lady, you know, in the state commission and district commissions. So Rama Devi was made the member. और वो वरंडा से शुरू कर दिया, कोर्ट बैठा दिया वरंडा से. I rushed to Justice Thakur and I asked him, सर आपने क्या किया? वरंडा से शुरू कर दिया. बोले आप लोग ने इतना बढ़िया कानून बनाया, हम वरंडा के हम तो अपने किचन से शुरू कर देते, हम जहां जगह मिलता हम टेबल चेयर बैठा के हम ये शुरू कर देते, क्योंकि इतना अच्छा है. और सरकार ने जब हम लोग को बना ही दिया स्टेट कमीशन, तो क्यों नहीं चालू करें हम तुरंत कंज्यूमर के लिए. Now what I am trying to convey to you, we had this mission-minded people those days. Those who never bothered about Lal Batti, who never bothered about peon, chaprasi. आजकल यदि स्टेट कमीशन और डिस्ट्रिक्ट कमीशन में किसी को भी आप अपॉइंट करेंगे, पहला चीज वो पूछेगा हमारा चपरासी कहां है, हमारा गाड़ी लाल बत्ती वाला क्यों नहीं है. And these are the kind of people who are getting nominated into the district commission and state commission who have no passion for consumer protection. So that was one part of the story which I wanted to tell you, and how consumer protection came. Now I'll go to next decade. Consumer protection आ गया. As you all know, 1990 में पूरा reform शुरू हो गया. competition shuru aa gaya. We all started having lot of industry coming in, lot of private sector coming into it. और जब वो बदलाव आया, the consumer became actually slowly started getting some recognition. तब तक that डर आने लगा लोगों के अंदर कि अब इनके अधिकार हो गया, कानूनी अधिकार हो गया. You see, and then it started growing. Now in that time, of course we lost Rajiv Gandhi, but Narasimha Rao ji and others who came subsequently, they continued this mission. They made sure that it becomes effective, efficient, and lot of international activities started happening. And I must tell you, Anandita ji is now trustee of Consumers International. All these bodies, I started seeing them. Because हमारा काम ऐसा हुआ कि I started looking at the world. कि क्या सीख के हम आएंगे जो इंडिया में नहीं है और क्या इंडिया सिखाएगा विदेश को. Because we have to also teach the world what we can do here. And all over the world, they started congratulating India because of this law. And whichever investors were coming to India, they came to India because this law came into force. Because then they started realizing that India is also becoming a different kind of a nation. It is not on monopolies anymore. The monopolies are getting dismantled, competition is coming, and we are going to have lot of changes. So friends, what I wanted to tell you was that this change also brought in a lot of exposure. And at that point of time, we were fighting with the Food Adulteration Act. So I am coming to, as you said, protection and safety. Safety cannot be compromised, friends, as you all will agree with me. You cannot have any negotiation with safety. Safety is paramount. So in order to have that safety net, you have to harmonize the laws of the world. ये नहीं कि हमारे देश में कुछ लॉ है तो अमेरिका में और कुछ है, यूरोप में और कुछ है, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है. Because the world was becoming a small village. The barriers were getting removed. There was a lot of competition which was coming in. So we had to look at those issues कि क्या हो रहा है. और उसी समय we started knowing something called GMO. What is GMO? Many people don't know in our country, but it was a big science in the developed country. And they were all trying to push that science to developing countries and least developed countries to sell their technology and capture the whole trade and commerce in the country, in the world. So the whole issue was, are we safe? Are we compromising on our safety? So all these issues started coming, and we wanted to get rid of any of those laws which were all Inspector Raj driven laws. And what we observed was that there was a lot of laws in our country where we are still continuing with the British law, but the Britishers have changed their laws, but we have not changed. हम तो बड़े हैरान हो गए, हम बोले ये क्या हो रहा है. उनके देश में इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक्ट बदल गया, हमारे देश में अभी भी इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक्ट चल रहा है 1948. I was just wondering what is going on. Then we started working on bringing reforms on the laws of our country, like the Electricity Act. For example, I'm just giving you some few examples. And we brought that at 2003, we brought the Electricity Act. And what was the motive of that act? Competition, empowerment to the consumer. हम decide करेंगे, हम किससे खरीदेंगे. आपको choice देना होगा. You have to give me that choice. हम किससे खरीदेंगे. हमको चाहिए कि हम स्टैंडर्ड बनाएंगे, हम खुद बनाएंगे. सिटीजन चार्टर हम खुद बनाएंगे. आप कौन है बनाने के लिए? So we started all this campaign called Citizens Charter, brought in new laws, and that is when the Food Safety and Standards Law 2006 came into existence. 10 साल लगा वो कानून को लाने के लिए, 10 साल. Because there will always be a विरोध, कोई जल्दी से चेंज नहीं लाना चाहता है. And we tried to work so hard that we had to dismantle all that influence which was going on in the corridors of power. And we were not resourceful. We had no money. Who will fund us? In our country, we can give lots of money to lot of institutions which are doing a lot of philanthropy work, but we will not give them consumer protection. And you know how Manu Bhai used to collect money for running this organization. He taught me also how to raise funds. And the only way you can raise funds is you have to first become very transparent in terms of using that money which people give you. People must have that trust in you. So at that point of time, when we started bringing those changes, many people started approaching us. आप इसमें भी बदलाव लाओ, उसमें भी बदलाव लाओ. तो हम बोले बट इसके लिए हमको साधन चाहिए. आई हैव टू गेट अ गुड लॉयर. कोई भी लॉयर मुफ्त में नहीं काम करेगा. बट आई गॉट, लेट मी टेल यू, I got people like Ram Jethmalani. I got people like, Kapil Sibbal. I got people like Prashant Bhushan. Great lawyers. और जब भी हम कभी भी उनके पास कोई कानून का PIL लेके जाते थे, they used to get very excited. जी हम करेंगे आपके लिए करेंगे. हम बोले सर पैसा तो नहीं दे पाएंगे, आपका तो फी आई कांट अफोर्ड. आपसे कहाँ पैसा मांगा हम? They would say, अब से तो नहीं मांगे, हम करेंगे. And they would appear. They will appear on behalf of the citizens. And they will convince the bench to bring those directions to the government that you have to change. And mind you, whatever I am doing today, it is because I got support from not only the politicians, I got support from the bureaucracy also. There are good people everywhere. Give them a big round of applause. It is not that all bureaucrats are bad, all politicians are bad. No. We have very good politicians, very nationalistic politicians in our country, even today. You have got great bureaucrats even today. You have to recognize them. You have to go to them and convince them. And they will do it for you. And they tell you. You know what they will tell me? आप बोलते रहिए जो आप बोल रहे हो. हम नहीं बोल पाते हैं वो चीज, लेकिन आप बोलते रहो. Great kind of motivation. They will tell you, and the best part is, I would always take them into confidence before I would file a PIL. I'll always tell the government, हम ये करने जा रहे हैं. आपने जवाब नहीं दे रहे हो, आपने कुछ नहीं कर रहे हो. As a law-abiding citizen, I will go to the court. And again, that is what I learned from Manu Bhai. मनु भाई ने हमको सिखाया था कि यदि सरकार आपका बात नहीं सुन रहा है, हम लोग तो प्लेकार्ड लेके रोड में नहीं खड़ा हो सकते हैं, आप कानून का मदद लीजिए. और हम उनसे पूछते भी थे कि कैसे हम वकील का पैसे देंगे. वो बोलते भी थे हमको, आपको मिल जाएगा वकील, आप अच्छा मुद्दा बनाओ, आप मुद्दा लेके चलो वकील के पास, आ जाएगा वकील आपके पास. एंड आई विल टेल यू टुडे, विद गॉड्स ब्लेसिंग, so many lawyers are just waiting for me to go to them. But I also become a little choosy कि हर बात के लिए हम थोड़ी कोर्ट भागेंगे. कभी कभी मौका सरकार को भी तो देना चाहिए ना, उनको भी तो ब्रीदिंग टाइम देना चाहिए. आप बोलोगे हर चीज को लेकर हम सरकार के विरोध में चले जाएंगे तो वो तो फिर मजा नहीं आएगा ना. So from 1901 to 2006-07 we brought in all these reforms in the country which you see today. And lot of international negotiations went on, like tobacco control लेकर कानून बना, food safety authority आ गया. I got nominated as part of the food safety authority as a member. Health ministry बोलता है कि मिश्रा जी आपका नाम तो नहीं आया अथॉरिटी का मेंबरशिप बनाने के लिए. हम बोले कैसे आएगा, क्योंकि वहां तो आई एम नॉट welcomed. See, most of the time they don't welcome you. तो वो नहीं देगा आपका नाम. So I would always tell my people who are working with me in my team when they used to find, sir हम लोग को तो इस कमिटी से निकाल दिया. हम बोला मत घबराइए, तुम अपना काम करते रहो, मुस्कुराते हुए तुम अपना काम करते रहो, और फिर एक दिन वो दौड़ के आएगा, सर हम लोग उस कमिटी में फिर से आ गए. हम बोले देखा ना हम क्या बोला था आपको. और जब हम उस कमेटी मीटिंग में जाएंगे, हम चेयरमैन से बोलेंगे आप तो निकाल दिए थे फिर बुला लिए. बोले बड़ा बोरिंग था यार विदाउट यू. एवरीबडी सेज यस सर. Nobody used to give any kind of an argument in terms of why we shouldn't do this or why we shouldn't do that. So friends, what I want to tell you is, People are always waiting for good suggestions, good inputs to make sure that they bring some change. But you have to also work hard and do some research to do that. You have to also ensure that whatever you want as a change, you also should spend some time. And the best people to do that is, I'm now kind of proudly say, go to those grey-haired people who have nothing to do but to help the youngsters who want to grow. You know, and I always did that. I went to senior people, I started asking them, बताइए क्या करना चाहिए? And they used to give so much of knowledge to you, so much of knowledge, that it is to become so interesting to do that work. So 1996 तक हम जमशेदपुर में रहे, where I was born and brought up. I just went for my college to Banaras Hindu University, happily married, came to Jamshedpur. And we started all these activities there. In 1994, I shifted to Delhi. And again, a professional, you know, you can say an acronym or kind of a default, where I lost all the business which I was doing with Tata Steel. I had no option. My children had already gone to college. So I told my wife, दिल्ली जाएंगे. दिल्ली क्या करोगे आप वहाँ? हम बोले हमको नहीं मालूम. कल कौन देखा है? क्या करेंगे हम? चलेंगे. You won't believe, just before I was going to leave Jamshedpur and reach Delhi, I got a call from one of my best friends in Delhi saying, सुना तुम दिल्ली आ रहे हो? हम बोला, yes. यार, have you committed somewhere? I said, no. I have not committed. Please don't commit. सुमन और आप हमारे को ज्वाइन करोगे और हमारा प्रोडक्ट को बेचने का प्रयास करोगे. हम बोले यार दिस इज डैम गुड. तब तक क्या हुआ था, 1993 में we started an organization called Consumer Coordination Council, which was the apex body of all the leading consumer groups of the country. 1983 में हम लोग शुरू किए थे. You know, Manu Bhai, H.D. Shourie, बड़े luminaries were there. And I was also one of those founders from Eastern India at that point of time. So when I went to Delhi and I started doing work for my friend, all my bureaucrat friends, all my political friends, they all became very thrilled. Oh, आप दिल्ली आ गए? हम बोले हाँ दिल्ली आ गए. Oh, very good. क्या कर रहे हो? हम बोले ऐसे ऐसा कर. अरे ये सब छोड़ो तुम. You come full time to consumer movement. Now, how do you come full time to a consumer movement? It is supposed to be a charity. You can't take remuneration from your trust, your own trust. As a trustee, you can't take money from there. So how do you run your family? Then they taught me the trick. The trick of the trade is, which I am today divulging, write proposals for the government, write proposals for the bilateral agencies, development agencies, and huge amount of funds are lying there. And if they are convinced that you are a doer and you will perform and you will deliver, they will make you one of their most trusted person to handle that fund, to do that activity. And officially, they would engage you as a consultant, as an advisor, and slowly, you become a professor one day because you start teaching so much that all the universities say, आप चले आओ, आप हमारे university में भी teach करो. So you become by default a professor also. Friends, what I want to tell you is that in terms of the past, the present, and the future which I'm talking about, we have to think about that even if you are in charity, you have to think of models which is going to be self-sustainable. The most important factor is, if you want to get into consumer protection, you have to develop that mechanism of understanding in terms of how you can bring a professional approach to development, to social activities. Of course, the person who is doing business, he is doing it out of his own capital or investors' capital, and he is doing it for business. We all know we have to give him some kind of a credit to do profitable business. But we, as people working in the development sector, have to understand three most important things. One is, how do you bring standards in that activity which is being done? That's the most important, because every consumer looks at standard. इसका मानक है कि नहीं, everybody looks at. And the second most important thing the consumer looks at is there information available in the language I want? Not in the language you want. This I learned when I went to UK on a fellowship of British Council to learn about Citizens Charter. You all heard about Citizens Charter? Every organization, government organization must have a Citizens Charter. If you go to their website, you will find one. The whole idea was that you have to bring in transparency and accountability in the system. And you can't bring it till you don't have a standard. And the consumer is always wanting that if anything goes wrong, then I must get redressal. I must get an opportunity to be heard, and which Consumer Protection Act had already provided. You know, the three-tier mechanism of getting redressal. But it was not functioning, even till date it is not functioning in the manner we desire. For a 2,000 rupees refund, nobody would dare to spend 50,000 rupees on a legal fight and wait for 10 years to get a redressal. Nobody. So what we are trying to do now is that we have to learn in terms of good practices. And the good practices will only come when the consumer starts demanding that quality. If you don't demand, you will never get it. And now I want to tell you what is that future. And I want to start with a small example of a startup youngster. Some youngsters, a startup company, realized that there are a lot of complaints coming on insurance sector. They started an organization called Insurance Samadhan. And what they did there was a very interesting phenomena again. They had a very small registration fee to register the complaint. आइए कोशिया साहब, सामने आइए, आइए आइए. The dawn of food and drug safety. Very good. Thank you, Koshia sir. You see, what I want to tell you all is, these youngsters, they built a business model to resolve your complaint in terms of insurance. If you are not happy with the insurance claim, then you can reach out to them and they will work on a success fee model. आपको यदि हम मदद कर दिया और आपको मदद मिल गया, तो आप हमको 10% दीजिए उस रकम का. Now the whole idea was that why this is happening, we must try to understand that. The major reason why that is happening, because जिनको ये काम मुफ्त में सरकार को करना चाहिए हम लोगों के लिए, वो काम वो उस ढंग से नहीं हो रहा है. आज हमको तुरंत समाधान नहीं मिल रहा है, ना हमारे पास पैसा है कि हम एक वकील कर पाएं. And there are very few organizations like CERC who fight for the rights of the consumers even up to the court of law. They engage, and they also have a model where after you have got the relief, you can donate in a voluntary manner to the organization. But many a times, as you know, we have to suffer because many people would not give you. They will get the relief, they will not give you. Then how do you sustain yourself? So abroad में हम देखे थे कि there was a scheme where government will always fund the consumer groups. Like in Germany, I saw when I went to Germany. China, of course, I don't want to mention that country's name. So the point which I am making is that we have created something called the Consumer Welfare Fund in the country. Out of what money? A money which was supposed to come back to you because somebody overcharged excise duty on you. And today in GST that is also applicable, where people are doing, undue enrichment through wrong GST collection. The recovery money has to come to the Consumer Welfare Fund because you can't identify the individuals. You are a victim, but I can't identify you. How can I give you that money back? So there are crores of rupees, more than 60,000 crores lying with the government, which are unclaimed money, either from the bank, from the insurance company, from the mutual fund people, from many people. Government is having huge amount of money of yours put into the consolidated fund of the government, where they are using it for whatever purpose they want, especially towards their salary. They are every year sitting down, some 7th pay commission, the next pay commission will come, their salary is increasing. My bureaucrat friend said, जो हम कमा रहे थे जब हम सरकार में काम कर रहे थे, रिटायरमेंट के बाद हमको उसका डबल मिल रहा है. Now that is the situation. What I want to tell you all is that the consumer welfare fund is your money. You all should demand that it should be used for your purpose. And the way we have to go in the future is technology. I'm happy that Koshia ji is here, because this is one state which has shown certain landmark, kind of milestones they have created in terms of drug safety and food safety. And the kind of technology they have used. You see, every citizen knows that the law says, the Food Safety Act says that आपको sample market से उठाना चाहिए, accredited laboratory में test करना चाहिए, उसका report public करना चाहिए और उस पे action लेनी चाहिए. Everybody knows. But we don't come to know. But Gujarat is the only state, let me tell you, where this information is coming on a website, on a portal, and the retailers, the drug retailers, the pharmacists, they're getting SMS on their phone that falana sample, falana batch, आप दुकान से निकाल दीजिए, वो सही नहीं है, वो report, वो fail कर गया. Now that's the future. The future is how we can use technology to empower the consumer. The future is to attract young people. People like you all. Yeah. कुछ समझ रहे हैं कि नहीं? You have to make it into a career, especially women, especially young girls. You have to think of how you can build a mechanism which a common man can use on a fee, which will keep you going in terms of that software or that application which you would have developed. But please, for heaven's sake, what I want to tell you all is, don't make it more complicated. Make it simple. Make it easy. Make it in such a way that people will be very happy to use it. And the key factor is, you have to develop all your mechanisms based on customer feedback. Innovation comes always through the customer, through the consumer, through the end user. कोई भी डिस्कवरी यदि होता है वो इसलिए हो पाता है क्योंकि कंज्यूमर ने कुछ बताया, और जो चीज वो कंज्यूमर बताया उसको वो कमर्शियल रूप से कन्वर्ट करके he has developed into a product and a service, and that is what it sells. So friends, the future, what I want to tell you about the consumer protection, and I will close here because I want to spend more time on you all asking me questions rather than me telling you all. I want to know what is working in your mind out of what I have told you in whatever time I got. Yeah, yes, everybody. Not a single person will go from this room without his question getting answered. I don't want anybody to go home and say, but हमको time नहीं मिला, हम पूछना चाह रहे थे, हमको दिया नहीं समय. नहीं, आपको पूरा समय मिलेगा as long as you are willing to stay here. I am planning to stay here till 12 midnight. Are you willing to stay till 12 midnight? No, no, enough. क्या कर रहा है यार, 12 बजे तक सुनाएगा ये सब चीज क्या? So I don't want to scare you, but I will stay here till you stay. Okay, but friends, again I want to tell you, and this is where I would like to stop, saying that your right is in your hand. And हम एक छोटा सा उदाहरण देंगे आपको और हम क्लोज करेंगे. हम रेलवे स्टेशन पहुंच जाते थे ऑन टाइम, जो हमको टेलीफोन में बताया जाता था जब when I was in the college days to receive my friends. और इनवेरिएबली वहां पहुंच जाने के बाद हमको पता लगता था कि ट्रेन इज कमिंग 45 मिनट्स लेट. अब हम घर नहीं जा सकते हैं, क्या करेंगे? 45 मिनट्स कहां बिताओगे? तो I used to roam around in that station. Go to the washroom, go to the platform, then I'll go to the station master's office. हर स्टेशन में स्टेशन मास्टर के ऑफिस में एक कंप्लेंट सुझाव बुक होता है, which is in triplicate. By the way, the Britishers had started, it is still alive. हर एक रेलवे स्टेशन, हर एक रेलवे ट्रेन में गार्ड के पास और हर एक रेलवे क्रॉसिंग में ये बुक होता है इन ट्रिप्लिकेट विथ 2 कार्बन कॉपीज, आज के दिन में भी, वेयर यू कैन गो एंड राइट योर कंप्लेंट. तो हम जाकर वहां इंटरेस्टिंगली टाइम बीत जाता था, कौन क्या शिकायत किया है वो पढ़ लेते थे, क्योंकि 1 copy used to be there. 1 copy he will acknowledge and give it to you, and 1 copy will go to that place जहां से समाधान मिलेगा उस प्रॉब्लम का. सो ट्रिप्लिकेट में बनता था. सो आई यूज्ड टू गो एंड रिलीजियसली राइट. वन फाइन डे हमारे पास फोन कॉल आया, सर वी आर वेरी हैप्पी टू इन्फॉर्म यू, यू हैव बीन नॉमिनेटेड इन द डिविजनल रेलवे यूजर्स कंसल्टेटिव कमिटी. हम बोले ये जंतु का नाम क्या है, ये कौन है ये? हम बोले ये क्या हुआ? अरे सर आपको मालूम नहीं, आपको मुफ्त में ट्रेन फेयर मिलेगा, मतलब पास मिलेगा, आपके घर में एक टेलीफोन लग जाएगा, उसका बिल भी सरकार रेलवे देगा. और कितना फैसिलिटी, आप क्या कर रहे हैं, इट्स अ वेरी बिग थिंग. तो हम जब गए फर्स्ट मीटिंग में, एमपीज एमएलए सब खादीधारी बैठे हुए थे वहाँ. आई वॉज द ओनली पर्सन हु वॉज नॉट इन अ कुर्ता पजामा, यू नो. सो आई वॉज इन माई नॉर्मल ड्रेस, you know, which you can see me, you know. That's my normal dress, by the way. So what I understood there was, I asked the divisional manager, हमको कैसे यहाँ बैठा दिया आपने? बोले सर आपने जो लिखते थे ना वहाँ कंप्लेंट, इतना कंप्लेंट आता था हर टाइम. हम बोले तो हम कोई गलत लिखते? नहीं नहीं, एकदम फैक्ट लिखते थे. That how can from in 20 minutes the train becomes 45 minutes late? You started from your home 20 minutes before, and by the time you reach the station it is 45 minutes late, and we are telling you that it is on time. ये कैसे हो सकता है? So friends, what I want to tell you is, keep talking about the issues, keep documenting them, bring evidences in place. You will become a member of DRUCC any day. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for your entertaining and engaging in a talk, and I'm sure there is a lot to learn from him. Now we would like to present to you Dr. Anandita Mehta, who is the COO of our own CERC, Consumer Education Research Center, is Ahmedabad based, and she's the CEO. She's of course the member of the International Consumer Council, and she wears again many responsibilities. She is a PhD in biochemistry, and she has got a lot of experience in a variety of organizations, including Atira, where she was working as a senior scientist many years back. So I would not like to to spend much time. She is of course going to tell you a lot about CERC. The time that is available to her is indeed short. It's only 15 minutes, but since she happens to be based in Ahmedabad, I'm sure we can have another round with the CERC, which obviously, as Bejonji said, is the frontal organization, foundational organization for consumer movement. By the way, Professor Manubhai Shah was my professor at IIMA, and we learned a lot from him.
Very good.
Back in 1972, and he was the general manager of Arvind Mills. But in those days, he was so active that he was probably the most popular professor at IIMA, though he was visiting the faculty. So over to Dr. Anandita ji, and before she starts, I would like to present a small gift to her. So over to Anandita ji now.
Very good evening to you all, and it is indeed my pleasure to be here today celebrating this important day today, National Consumer Day 2024, with you all. You've heard about the history of CERC, how from your own city, Ahmedabad, the consumer movement of India had begun, from your own city. right? How Manubhai Shah, the Ralph Nadar of India, started this movement way back in 1978, and how the first Consumer Protection Act 1986 was coined. And today we are celebrating that important day when the act came into force, right? So I think, Mishra ji, you've put it so nicely, the history, the past. But somewhere along the way, I feel कि अहमदाबाद शायद CRC और मनुभाई शाह को थोड़े भूल से गए हैं. So I think
नहीं, कभी नहीं बोला.
so I think it is my duty to bring you back into the fold, to remind you that we are here right next door to take on your complaints, your grievances, and we are there to serve you. Of course, now that I'm trying to fit into his shoes, very, very difficult task, but we are still very relevant not only in Ahmedabad and Gujarat, but all over India. And CRC is still thriving and doing a lot of consumer-centric activities. Very briefly, I would touch upon the various areas of activities that CRC is into and how CRC can serve you. Today, my main motto is to bring to you the activities and the areas where you can avail our, services, I would say. So with that, this is a glimpse of our organization. At the center of the entire activities, all-round activities, are the consumers. We have 3 major sections you can see highlighted in blue, green, and orange. The blue indicates Grahak Suraksha Kendra. The name itself indicates that we are there to protect the consumers, to empower the consumers. So under the Grahak Suraksha Kendra, we have various activities. First, to begin with, we have a 4-tier consumer grievance redressal system. The first step of that is the consumer helpline, okay, where the consumers can just make a call and get advices, get resolution in some cases for the complaints. The second step is the Consumer Advice Center, where we give pre-purchase advices and other related advice to the consumers. Third step is the mediation, which is one of the most important steps. And let me share something nice with you, that out of all the complaints that we receive, 85% of the complaints get resolved by the time one takes the third step. Till mediation, 85% of the complaints are resolved. Only 15% get escalated to litigation. And like he mentioned, that once you are in for litigation, then it is a matter of a lot of time, number of years, it takes long. So our focus is mainly on consumer awareness, which is very, very important. Second is, consumer grievance redressal mediation, to see to it that there is a minimum percentage which reaches litigation. We are the only consumer rights organization in the country to have, not only in the country, in whole of Asia, in rather the world, to have our own product testing laboratories. We have testing laboratories for food as well as electrical testing. We have an in-house magazine called Grahak Sathi in 8 languages, 8 regional languages. It's an e-magazine, online magazine. Earlier we used to have a print magazine, but nowadays, people don't like to read a 20, 30-page magazine, so we give them in capsules, a weekly 4-page magazine. which comes out in 8 languages. We run consumer clubs in 110 schools and 20 colleges in Ahmedabad. So that's about a brief about our Grahak Suraksha. Then we are the resource partners with the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and we have various programs under the ministry's work, where our mandate is awareness about eco-labeling and eco-friendly products. We also run a skill development program for the youth, and there are various other programs of the ministry that we implement from time to time, like the Swachh Bharat or Mission Life or Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam. Those are the focus areas of the ministry from time to time. And of course, the most important part is our research and advocacy wing, where we have been instrumental in the making of the first Consumer Protection Act 1986 and subsequently the latest one in 2019, where 80% of CERC's input have been incorporated in these 2 laws. I'll come to it a little later. We have been working with the central ministry at Delhi for misleading advertisements program. Now I'm on the governing body of BIS, where they are coming out with standards for misleading advertisements. Of course, there is a self-regulatory body called ASCI, which is working on this area, but now BIS is coming out with stringent standards. And there are various other areas of advocacy with regulators, with the FDCA. We are on the various committees of FSSAI, BIS, FDCA and all. So, and of course, now with me on the trustee board of Consumer International, which is a member organization of 200 member countries. We exchange good practices, like he had mentioned that we've been exchanging good practices with the international community, and of course sharing our best practices with them as well. Learned audience here today. So I'm sure that all of you are aware of the 6 basic rights that the Consumer Protection Act grants us under the CPA Act. Still, just to be a little more sure, can anybody quickly tell me those 6 rights? I just wanted it to be a little interactive. So what are the 6 rights that we as consumers are empowered with? Anybody from the audience? I would just love to have the answer. 6 basic rights of consumers which we are empowered with under the Consumer Protection Act.
Yeah, say, speak up.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Right to safety, right to be heard, right to be educated, right to information, etc.
Very good.
Very good.
Very good. I didn't ask CRC members because they would know. So our 6 rights, of course, right to information. We have the right to know everything, the A to Z, about the products that we are going to buy, the right to be, right to safety, the right to choose. The retailer cannot just give you or cannot be, force you to buy anything which you do not choose. The right to be heard, right? The right to consumer grievance redressal, and the right to consumer education. So these are our 6 basic rights, which, Bejonji, even today, if you, many, I mean, consumer movement has come a long way since the 1960s or 50s that you were talking about. But even today, I find that somewhere it's not at the tip of their fingers yet, So talking after that, I just wanted to very briefly touch upon some new features that have been added to the 2019 Consumer Protection Act. One is the formation, this again, the formation of Central Consumer Protection Authority, CCPA. Another input that CERC had given, because I was just sharing with you all, like those days we were studying the best practices from the international community, and we found that there is, other than the courts, other than the commissions, there is an authority in the developed countries who can take suo motu action. So with that in mind, we had suggested the formation of CCPA, and it is a body to investigate complaints, stop unfair trade practices. It can impose penalties for misleading advertisements, and there's a lot of power that CCPA has. Second is, now there is a simplified complaints process. Earlier, supposing you had bought a telephone from Mumbai, you had to complain there itself. But now you can complain from anywhere in the world. Jurisdiction has increased, has been made flexible. The forum, the district forum can handle up complaints of stake involved up to 1 crore. The state commission from 1 crore to 10 crore, and the national commission above 10 crore. So that has increased. Product liability, the manufacturers now are liable for not only, just giving back the money. Earlier what used to happen is, आपने TV खरीदा, TV खराब हो गया, तो the manufacturer will just give you the money and that's it. But now they are liable to pay for any harm that has been caused. Meaning TV में short circuit हो गया, and if you are injured, the manufacturer is liable. If your, anything gets damaged due to that, the manufacturer is liable. So, of course, that is there. E-commerce has been brought into the ambit. Earlier in those days, e-commerce was not there, in fact, online transactions. So now, whatever rights the common consumer gets, the one who walks in and buys goods and services, the same is applicable for e-commerce. Manufacturers, sellers, and service providers are now accountable for any harm caused by defective products or services, even bought online. Then penalties for misleading advertisements, and there's a lot of reforms there which are coming in that area as well. Technology, today the focus is on technological advancements that have happened. There's a national consumer helpline. It's a grievance redressal at the pre-litigation stage. It is available in 17 languages. Complaints can be filed through INGRAM, that is Integrated Grievance Redressal Mechanism. It's an IT-enabled channel, which has multiple channels like WhatsApp and SMS, email, Umang app, where, you can lodge your complaints very easily. He has partnered, the NCH has partnered with 10,000 companies under its convergence program. So whatever complaints you have, and if the partner companies are related in that, so they forward the complaints to that companies, and it is resolved. So there are various, what I mean is there are various powers under the new CP Act, which has been given to the consumer. And like I had mentioned earlier, there is a 3-tier dispute redressal forum. Okay, so I have been told that I hardly have 5 minutes, so I'll quickly go through it. This I have already spoken to you about, our 4-step consumer grievance redressal at CERC. Some examples of the type of complaints that we get, that is, this was from the against the National Insurance Company, and the knee replacement insurance claim was approved, but a majority of amount was received, but reimbursement for physiotherapy treatment was denied by the company. And CRC facilitated mediation and guided the consumer through the legal processes, and a total amount of 37,000 towards the treatment was received. Another a person bought a Whirlpool refrigerator, a double door, and water leakage problem was detected, and action was taken, and the replacement was made available. So similarly, this was a complaint about a Hyundai car, and the list is endless, of course, against wedding photographs and photographer, that is, Byju's, a refund of 62,000 against Air India services. So, of course, your voice matters, and do call us at this number whenever you have an issue. We are there to help you, and our complaints are resolved free of cost. Just wanted to, another 2 minutes. Okay. So we'll take some questions now, and
Though we are in Ahmedabad, we are not aware
Please
about
give the mic-
what
mic
CRC
to-
is doing. So it's wonderful,
give the mic?
Anita ji, for you to give us an exposition and kind of an elaborate presentation on what CRC is all about. Thanks a lot once again. And now we'll take the questions. 10 to 15 minutes maximum is the time allotted to us by AMA for the questions. Please.
Sir, I have got two queries. First is, why the certain professions like advocates and judges are kept out of Consumer Protection Act 1? And another thing, there are so many public things where the phone calls are not being picked up anytime on inquiry. Say, for example, ST, railway, airports, insurance company, they will not pick up the phone for inquiry anytime, and we are not able to do anything for that.
So just to add to your question about lawyers, why they are not included. This is what is your question. The first is it went up to the Supreme Court, which gave a directive to include the doctors and the healthcare providers under the Consumer Protection Act. You know that there is a very famous case, Santa versus Union of India, where Indian Medical Association went up to the Supreme Court, and we got that. You see, it can only happen because at one point of time, as you know, that laws are made only when the people whom we elect as our lawmakers, they agree to do that law. And unfortunately today, many cases have gone before the Supreme Court against lawyers, and they have not entertained it till date. But don't give up. My question to you is, answer to you is this: don't give up. We have to keep forcing that in terms of to ensure. But my major solution to you is, why can't we get that resolution through CCPA? The Central Consumer Protection Authority in 2019 was made to do this kind of an activity which you are working and you are pointing out. We cannot go before the Supreme Court, but the government, the department which looks after consumer protection, please force them to do this. Start a postcard campaign. I still remember the Ayushman Bharat came because there was a postcard campaign which went to the Prime Minister's office. More than 5,000 postcards reached the Prime Minister's office. He was shaken up and he was woken that Ayushman Bharat has to come, because that was written in their manifesto when they fought the election in 2014. And it was promised to us that when they come to power, they will start the Ayushman Bharat and they will work towards universal health coverage. So friends, if you don't do an initiative which will bring public outcry, don't expect a change. Don't expect a change. You have to build a public outcry. I used to go to colleges, I used to go to many gatherings where I used to give postcards and tell people, please write your address. Postcard में केवल दो ही एक एड्रेस होता है और एक आप जो लिखना चाहते हो. अपने हत्याचार हैंड राइटिंग में आप उसको लिखिए और पोस्ट कीजिए मास पोस्ट कार्ड, it will 100% bring you success what you are today expecting. Yes or no?
Yes, but sir, it is very difficult for the single person.
Sorry?
It is very difficult to handle it as
क्या कर रहे हैं आप? इसी कमरे में 50 लोग बैठे हुए हैं. आज यदि आप 50 पोस्ट कार्ड लिखवा के कल आप पोस्ट कर दोगे, is it a difficult task? No, it's not difficult. It's only a matter of taking that initiative to do it. So, yeah, please. Please.
Pharma products, there is a huge menace of counterfeits and fake drugs. What is the status?
Oh, very
I want to
interesting
know
question.
of
My
tracking-
commissioner is also here.
Oh, I see.
He is also here.
Of tracking and tracing the batch.
I'll tell you.
Why?
I'll tell you. You see, India was promoted, Betty, please. India was promoted as the hub of spurious medicines and not of quality medicines. In the world, it was touted. Why? Why it was touted? हम लोगों का 60% of the medicines manufactured in India, generic medicine, are exported to 130 countries. We export 60% of our production abroad, only 40% is consumed domestically. If our medicine was bad in quality, do you think anybody will import it? They will risk their citizen? We have got the maximum number of US FDA approved manufacturers in India, which is more than 400, who supply medicines from India to USA, and they are approved by US FDA, not by Koshiaji or by our FDA people. The question is, in 2014, we started an initiative to do that study. When Modi ji came, he agreed to our proposal to spend 8.5 crores to do one of the largest study ever done in the world. In India, 47,000 samples were collected in a systematic manner, in a scientific manner. Praful Bhai is here, who was part of that expert group along with us. Koshiaji was there, and Koshiaji will also answer to you. You see, the point which I am making is, India is one of the best country in the world which gives 0.4% spurious medicine, not even 4% not of quality medicine. Don't get carried away by media.
No, but what about the tracing of batch?
Very good question again. And you know, who asks good questions, I'll want to gift my magazine. This is for you. Ask questions, you'll get a magazine.
But you have not answered.
One
The que-
minute.
you have not answered the question.
I am just answering you. You see, the point is, we had a committee called Tandon Committee, which looked into how technology can be used to trace and track medicines. I was recently nominated in a committee under the Department of Pharmaceutical, which is looking at how blockchain can be used to trace this counterfeit and bring away, recall, those medicine batches which are happening. So now the real answer will come if you pass on that mic to him, Mr. Koshia. He will tell you what Gujarat is doing for you.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. So, first of all, because in India we have a Drug and Cosmetic Act and the rules of 1945, is the onus of the manufacturer that is supposed to manufacture a quality medicine and the quality remain intact till the expiry date of that medicine. That onus and the liability with the manufacturer. We issue the license after pre-audit and everything. In spite of all this, sometime product get failed in one or other criteria, not spurious. For that, we randomly in Gujarat, especially 20,000 samples of the different product and the category, we randomly pick from the market. Even there is a complaint, we give the priority. But out of this 20,000 odd number of the product, the failure ratio is around 2.5%. Out of 100, 2.5% samples are not meeting the standard. They are not spurious, but they are not meeting one or another pharmacopoeial standard. Sometimes volume may be less, sometimes assay may be little less, pH may be higher. And only 0.02% or less than it spurious. So, how to get that product back from the market? Yes, previously we used to write the letter to the manufacturer if within my jurisdiction in Gujarat. Suppose manufacturer is Himachal Pradesh, product is selling the Gujarat, not meeting standard, then that manufacturer is not in my domain. So I have to write letter to that drug control of the Himachal Pradesh. Himachal Pradesh will write to that letter to the company. Then the company will write letter to their distributor for recall of that product. While doing so, we have calculated it takes 60 to 70 days. And by the time we receive the reply from the manufacturer, they simply write, sir, we have received your show cause and recall notice. By the time we recall the drug is consumed in the market and there is a zero recall. So all the product, because it's a fast moving product, is consumed in the market, and as FDA commissioner, I am knowing that product is not fit for the consumption. It was, prior to that technology, it was a mockery of the law, where the mute spectator, we are the guardian of the public health by institution called medicine, but we are the mute spectator. We don't have, but right now, yes, Bhajan Kumar Mishra ji sir rightly mentioned that right now we have a excellent software. All the 54,000 plus chemists and druggists of the Gujarat are under that software. My lab is connected with the software. All the offices are connected with the software. The moment some drug declared spurious or substandard in my lab, next moment the data transferred to my office, and with one go, we throw the bulk SMS to all 54,000 chemists. That name of the product, its batch number, manufactured by the company, declared substandard. Stop use, sell in the distribution. The chemist offset that medicine. Even the doctor keep on prescribing, and as a consumer go to the chemist shop, he will not sell because he has given the alert from the FDA office that this product is not fit for consumption. And selling NSQ drug, chemist is not getting any extra money because all the products are replaced by the manufacturer. This is the mechanism in the state of the Gujarat. And for that software, sir, we have received the National E-Governance Gold Award.
Right.
And the same software is replicated by the Maharashtra, Kerala and Karnataka.
Correct.
Thank you, sir.
Very good. Very good. Yes, yes. That's this lady. Yeah. She has been raising her hand. Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
सर माय क्वेश्चन इज टू यू
हाँ.
आपने बताया कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन आने के बाद बहुत सालों के बाद 1978 में मनु भाई जी ने उनमें किया कि कंज्यूमर के लिए कुछ होना चाहिए.
होना चाहिए.
तो इतना बड़ा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनाने के लिए जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन मेकर्स थे, जिन्होंने बहुत सारे कंट्रीज के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पढ़े और उनमें से बहुत सारी चीज़ें अपनी तरह से इम्प्लीमेंट की, तो फिर ये कंज्यूमर वाला टॉपिक कैसे रह गया सर?
क्या रह गए?
कंज्यूमर टॉपिक
हाँ.
डिस्कवर करने में कैसे रह गए?
नहीं, हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में ये समझ लीजिए कि द कंज्यूमर्स राइट्स आर ऑलरेडी देयर.
या
You know, equity, justice.
Yes,
it's
that's-
all there.
द टर्म लाइक दैट.
Okay. And from that constitution, we developed the Consumer Protection Act. But क्यों रह गए? लीडरशिप की कमी.
या
राजीव गांधी को किसी ने नहीं बताया, या इंदिरा गांधी को नहीं बताए पहले कोई, और जो बताए वो उस ढंग से नहीं बता पाए जिससे वो प्रभावित हो जाए और कर दे उस काम को. तो हर समय आप जैसे लोगों को उपभोक्ता आंदोलन में जुड़ना चाहिए.
ओके.
आप क्यों नहीं जुड़े ये बताइए. अभी तक आप क्यों नहीं कंज्यूमर प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट में या कंज्यूमर मूवमेंट में नहीं जुड़े हैं? बताइए क्या रीजन हो सकता है.
सर मे बी आई वाज नॉट अवेयर टू मच.
So today after you go out of this room,
Yes.
you will first thing you will do is visit CERC.
या श्योर.
Okay?
श्योरली.
You should visit CERC, read all the literature which they have collected for years. They have one of the best libraries, let me tell you. Go and read, go and find out what is happening. You see, the point is people like you should join this movement, which is unfortunately not happening, but I am very proud that you are joining, and as a return gift, I want to give you this. Come.
Thank you, sir.
Come. Take this and read this and pass it. Yes, pass on the knowledge to everybody. Yes,
Sir, I
not you. Yes, you.
Sir, I have one more question, please, sir.
Oh, you got one more.
Yeah. We have no time, but I'm sorry for the question because I have very much keen to ask you that आपने बताया कि false ingredients अगर CCPA जो एक्ट है उसमें misleading जो advertisement होती है उसके लिए आप करते हो काम and the consumer can also complain. But the company, I don't want to take the name, but they got the thing that the whole wheat bread, right? But the ingredients, when you read that, there is a maida. Whole wheat and maida. So how can they mislead the people with that? Because people are not like me and you who are much aware about this. But जो जिसे को कुछ भी नहीं पता है,
नहीं
वो तो mislead हो रहा है ना
देखो, ऐसा है, आपको पता लगा ना, तो first thing you should do is stop buying that. सबसे बड़ा जो हथियार है उपभोक्ताओं के पास वो बहिष्कार का हथियार, ये समझ लो. आपको यदि पता लगा आप उस चीज को खरीदना बंद कर दो, नंबर 1. नंबर 2, आप प्रचार करो कि इसको मत खरीदिए क्योंकि ये भ्रामक विज्ञापन करते हैं, वो लोगों को धोखा दे रहा है. इससे ज्यादा पनिशमेंट नहीं हो सकता है कोई ब्रांड के अगेंस्ट में, ये समझ लीजिए. Yeah, please. Waiting for you.
Sir, I am attending this session with a group of students. Jaivir and group, please stand up. And Dhruvi and group also, please stand up.
Where are they? Oh, very good. A big round of applause. Very nice.
Sir, my question is maybe representation of these people. We are using a lot of social media. And nowadays, what happens if somebody is dissatisfied with some service or some product, people just write on their Facebook wall or social media and they feel like they have done their job. Right? I bought Ola scooter and it is like this. I traveled by airline and it is like this. So there is a lot of indirect complaints, huge number of indirect complaints which are communicated through social media. But I would like to know how our kind of people, young team, can work on this data and create some sort of streamlined systematic database on which we can.
Fantastic. You see, what I want to tell you all is, जो भी काम आप मेहनत करके कर रहे हो, उसको अपने पास सीमित मत रखो, उसका पब्लिकेशन करो and प्रचार करो उसको लेकर. And I tell you, if you give us the right to take your study to the policymakers and the lawmakers, you will do a big service to the country for doing that study and taking it to the people. So friends, if you are correcting any data, please share it, publish it, make it public, shame and name the people who are doing wrong things. नहीं, हम आपको एक चीज सतर्क कर दें, हमारे अगेंस्ट में 4 डिफेमेशन सूट चल रहा है कोर्ट में. क्यों? क्योंकि हमने उनके ब्रांड के अगेंस्ट में बात किया, लेकिन डरेंगे नहीं. जो डर गया वो खत्म हो गया.
So CRC also has presence on social media. So we have the Jita Grahak on YouTube, where the consumers who have got redressed have spoken about the success stories. We are there on Facebook as well, on Twitter and other social media. You can bring your issues to us, and we also run internship programs for students like you all who come from law colleges from Gujarat University. We have MOUs with all the leading universities of Ahmedabad, where interns are trained on how to spot misleading advertisements, how to spot adulterated foods, and the works. So you must approach the right agencies and get your redressal.
We'll do Dr. Sane.
Very good evening, everybody. It was really an enlightening and more than that, an eye-opener for me, as it's been almost 38 years we are celebrating this.
Yes.
But to be very honest, this is for the first time I'm coming across this kind of thing.
Very
So why shouldn't it be a part of curriculum of maybe secondary education to create mass awareness or mass education? That I think it is really necessary, because still for the first time I'm coming across of this kind of information in my life.
You want to answer? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think the issue has been addressed quite late in the years, but now, like I had mentioned, there are 110 schools of Gujarat, of Ahmedabad, sorry, not Gujarat, where this has been taken up with students of 8th to 12th standard. There are consumer clubs which are run by the Gujarat government in these schools. We have also designed some curriculum with Gujarat Vidyapeeth, where credit programs are being run. We have recently done MOUs with other universities like SLIMS, Somlalit Institute of Management. We are in talks with Gujarat University to make it a full-fledged curriculum now. So in future, generations will be much more aware, and I'm sure they will not be asking the same question you are asking today.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
સર આમાં જે ગુજરાતીમાં બોલું કે
You just
ઈ કોમર્સ એકચ્યુઅલી સેલર મેન્યુફેક્ચરર સેલર્સ ધેર આફ્ટર ધ કમ્સ એકચ્યુઅલી
The consumer.
થર્ડ વર્ડ જે આપેલું છે એ સર્વિસ પ્રોવાઈડર એક બેઝિક ક્વેશ્ચન જ આપણે લઈએ મીડિયા માટે એમને કહ્યું ટાટા સ્કાય દાખલા તરીકે હવે એ લોકો તમને ડિસ્ક એટલે દે આર સેલિંગ ધ ડિસ્ક બરાબર છે અને દેટ ઇઝ ધ ઓનરશિપ રિમેન્સ વિથ ધ ટાટા સ્કાય
Right.
નોટ વિથ યુ
Right.
but જ્યારે we have to prove in the court deficiency in this service. Customer and consumer, what is the difference between the two? Customer, actually you are purchasing some goods and good is defective, then it goes with the warranty. And service
See, I'll explain you.
just service provider, just I want to service provider, there is a deficiency in service.
Yes.
And despite of many complaints, actually there is no redressal, then what to do?
No. So let me let me explain to you. The definition of the consumer is any product or service. Any product or service which you purchase by giving a amount of money or promise to give an amount of money, you get qualified as a consumer under the Consumer Protection Act. And deficiency in service or any kind of an unfair trade practice also comes under the purview of the Consumer Protection Act. So please, from tomorrow onwards, if there is any issue in terms of your service, please complain to that company in terms of deficiency in service, because the first thing is complaining to the company. The second step comes that you go to CRC, you go to any helpline number, you go anywhere you want to go, but you have to go after complaining to the person who has provided you the product or the service. And once you have done that, then you get that evidence that you've gone to a person who is not listening to you and not giving you that relief or remedy. Then you go to the next step and go ahead with help from people like the National Consumer Helpline or Central Consumer Protection Authority or CRC or our website called jagograhakjago.com or any of these places you can go.
So in my presentation, I had shown 2 slides where there was a complaint against National Insurance Company and complaints against the airlines. So those 2 are service providers. They are not, I mean, so like...
It is included.
So
It is included.
So I think consumer definition includes this.
It is
I
good.
think it is all showing that we are
You
not
see,
aware about what the government has done in the INOS Act.
My friends, my only suggestion is that let us close and then I am there. You can ask me the questions.
Yes. So I think what he said. Thank you very much.
No,
Thank
before-
you very much.
before,
You see,
See,
any product, any service that is for your personal consumption comes under the category of consumer. So your house, for example,
minute,
which you are buying,
please be seated.
your house, or you are talking about, so the medical or the
Please be
educational,
seated. Please be
any, say service that you're buying falls within very much the definition of consumer. So I would like to thank, say,
One minute, before you thank. You see, on behalf of all of you, I would like to gift one of my magazine to the Ahmedabad Management Association for their library.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
This is for you. And Koshia ji, please come on the stage. Koshia ji, please come. Come here. So one on behalf of all my friends who are sitting in this auditorium, on your behalf, we want to congratulate Koshiaji for the great work which he is doing for Gujarat. Koshiaji, this is yours. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So I would not like to take much time. Thanks a lot, for remaining here with us. And obviously,
Take photo.
Bejonji and Anandita ji have given you a new dimension. This is something which you did not know. Consumer Protection Act is meant for us. We have to be active, first of all. And second important thing is that everything that we are buying for a the kind of a price, product or service, house or medical care, education, everything is covered. We have got to be vocal. We have to be persistent. We have to be, obviously diligent in whatever we are doing. And Bejonji has demonstrated that this is all possible. And it can also become a very good social business if we want to do. And all the help is available. The law is made for us. Please appreciate the law is made for us. And the government is all out to support. But we have to take necessary steps by ourselves. We have to work a little harder in order to get the rights duly addressed and delivered to us. So thank you very much for a wonderful engagement. Thank you. And thank you very much, Bejonji. Thank you very much, AMA. Thank you very much, Anandita. Thank you very much, CRC. And I, on behalf of ITF Innovative Thought Forum, once again wish to express my thanks to you. Thank you very much. Happy Consumers Day.